My name is Antonio Sanint, and I'm from Colombia. I'm living in New York. I'm a comedian, and I would put uchuas in my jam.
Welcome, everybody. It's another beautiful day at Immigrant Jam podcast headquarters. I'm Lucy Pohl, your host. We are here to love, celebrate, and talk all things immigrant. And today we are traveling to Colombia. We are meeting Antonio Sanint, an amazing comedian, television personality, entertainer, and Colombian. Who now lives in New York. Welcome to the podcast. Antonio, you are on tour right now with the Colombian Heritage Comedy Tour. Mm-hmm. You guys are doing 24 cities. You have 15 cities left because you've done 9 and we know how to do math.
I almost couldn't. I was right, like us 5 minutes
We started like 20 minutes late because we couldn't figure out how many cities were left.
That's why we do comedy.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm so excited. Welcome to Immigrant Jam, the podcast. First of all, uchua. That sounds amazing. We figured out it's gooseberry or goldenberry.
Or goldenberry, exactly.
And what does it taste like?
It's a little, what does it taste like?
Sour?
It's a little sour, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It tastes like home, most importantly.
Exactly. And we in Colombia make that jam.
Yeah.
So we love, it's called mermelada de uchua, which is goldenberry jam.
And what do you eat it on? Just bread?
Just bread or whatever. Or you know what? And we love to put like cheese, like which one is the oh man,
the like stringy cheese or the white cheese?
No, it's the white cheese. It's like creamy. It's French.
Oh, brie.
Brie.
Yes.
Melted brie. That was good. That was amazing.
That's the most French cheese ever. Antonio, you're from Bogota, Colombia. For people who have no idea what happens there, what it's like, can you give us like a little bit of an idea what it was like growing up there, what it's like, what the culture is like? What's Colombia like? What's Bogota like?
Okay, so we have, of course, everybody knows about the coffee. And a lot of people know us for the cocaine as well. Because we did that for a long time. Nowadays, it's mostly Mexicans who are doing it. That's why Narcos has now, the new chapters are in Mexico, because that's what happened. We had it for like since the 70s until like 10 years ago, but now it's more of a Mexican thing.
Yeah.
But we still do it, and we fabricate it. We make the
And by the way, you're welcome, world. Okay?
Yeah.
You can say you're welcome for all the good times.
Call me. I'll hook you up. No. So, but it's a beautiful country. It's got a lot. It's in the equator, so that means we don't have seasons. That is weird for people that live in seasonal countries.
Right.
And so if basically we're on 2,300 meters above sea level. I don't
Elevation,
know. Yeah, I don't know what in miles is that, but
no clue either.
And so what happens is that if we want to be in a warmer place, we go down the mountain. We're in the Andes mountain. So, and if we wanted something a little colder, we go up the mountain.
Nice.
That's it. And Bogota is cold all year long.
Really?
Yeah, it's like...
Anyway, so it's cold. It's like chilly there, mostly all year round. It's a big city.
And it's
a big, busy city, right?
It's a big city. We have like 12 million people. And all the country has 50 million people. So we're a big country. Well, not as big as America, but and it's nice. And although we got the reputation, it's actually very nice cities like Bogota or Medellin or even Manizales, or the coast is beautiful. The coast is very Caribbean.
And people say that the Colombian Spanish is like the the like most clean, most clear Spanish.
Colombians say that.
Only Colombians? I love that.
Yeah. No, we have...
And they were all on coke when they said that.
And we learned to speak.
And so you grew up in Bogota.
And I grew up in Bogota until I was 20, and I left to L.A. to just experience life and, see if I could make something out of myself.
Were you already doing comedy at 20?
No. I was doing comedy since I was a kid in school, and when I was like 15, I had a friend. I met a friend who was as shy as I was, and had also used comedy to mask, the shyness, and so we could meet girls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we had characters, and so since then we became really good friends, and we started writing, and we would go to the parties, and we would do little shows, and that always happened until we were like in university in Colombia.
Great.
And then I went to L.A. and I studied in a community college because I didn't have money because I had to support myself. And so I studied film. Wow. And then I got hired over there by an advertising agency, and really good at, because of life, things in life.
Right, yeah.
And I worked there for like 4 years, and then an advertising agency in Colombia brought me back. And so I worked there until I was 30, and I called my friend one day and I said, we can't die without even trying.
That's
the
great.
Passion
that same
the
friend?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we started in bars. There was no comedy in Colombia. There was no stand-up comedy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And we started doing it, and it worked. And so we got hired by 2 years later, after doing it in bars, we got hired by this big Colombian theater, which is called El Teatro Nacional, National Theater of Colombia. And we started a residency that we were there for 2 years. And since then, producers started to see us.
2 years, meaning weekends, Friday, Saturday?
5 shows a week.
5 shows a week.
Yeah.
Same shows?
Yeah.
Same show for the 2 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was
It evolved.
Sketch comedy and characters, stuff like that?
Exactly.
That's great.
That show is in Netflix right now. We recorded it, but we recorded 5 years ago.
What's it called?
Ríase el show.
Okay.
Which is a saying.
Ríase el show.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Colombia, we say ríase el café que me tomé. Laugh about the coffee that I just drank. I don't know why, but it's laugh about that.
Okay.
And so this is laugh about the show.
I love that.
Very Colombian. Yeah.
That's great. I love what you said in the beginning, that you were both shy and you were using comedy to mask your shyness, because I think a lot of people think that people that perform and are on stage are outgoing people and extroverted.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a misconception, because a lot of us are deeply shy people. I consider myself very shy. And when I say that to people, they always go, "What are you talking about? You're not shy at all.
You're a comedian."
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can talk to anybody. And it's like, I can, but I'm dying on the inside.
Sometimes I feel, I don't know if this happens to you, but sometimes I can be in front of 10,000 people and I feel very comfortable. But if I do a comedy show for 10, I die. I die.
Or having to talk to just one person.
Exactly. Going to a party or to a reunion and not knowing anybody, I get really nervous. I get very, very insecure.
Yes. Yeah, and I think, it's so funny because especially, I think a lot of comedians who do characters, especially those comedians, because they're looking for a sort of a different persona, right? To be something through that they can't be when they're just themselves.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And you've developed that. It's more of a coping mechanism, right?
Absolutely.
Right? So you can deal with that.
Yep.
And it's funny because I've always thought of how funny would it be to record the green rooms in comedy clubs. Right? Because they're the dullest people in the world. Or they're really, going through the material, catatonic person.
Yes, I just had yesterday, I went into a green room and it was in a basement kind of, and you turn a corner and then you're in the room and it's tiny.
Yeah.
So I came down and turned the corner, and there was a comedian sitting there. I'd never met him before. And I was like only like a foot away from him because so small. And he was on his phone, looking at his phone, but he didn't look up. Although I was so close to him. There. And so I was like, hey. And he looked up at me and he went, hey, looked back at his phone. And I was like, I should introduce myself. And then I just went, okay, and turned around and walked out. I was like, that's so weird. But then on stage, it's all like peace and I'm so comfortable. And,
because we do it every day. That's what and it's been really weird because I've been here a year, and the amount of times that you do it, you start to. Because in Colombia, we don't have this amount of comedy clubs and this amount of opportunities to do it, and this amount of comedians and this incredible level of good comedians.
Right.
So it's weird because every time we have the opportunity to be on a stage, it's like a big opportunity. So everybody's feeling like really hyped and, and here's like an everyday thing, like, hi. Yeah,
right. It's show number 8.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you went to LA, when you were 20, did you know anybody there? Did you speak English well? I mean, your English is like perfect.
Thank you.
But is it perfect because of that experience, or
I would say because of we were talking before the ear. We have like more sensible ears for certain accents, or I've loved doing accents since I was a kid, and I did the whole South American, the Argentinian, the Mexican, in Colombia we have a lot of different accents from the coast. As I said, from the mountain, there's a lot of different accents. So I love that. And plus we have in Colombia, like in the South American countries, we have a huge admiration for America.
Right.
And we grew up with the movies, with the songs. We even sang songs when we were kids and didn't know what we were singing.
Yes.
Yeah, the words. And
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
And
I have tapes of myself going, I'm riding around where I'm walking down the street. Like that.
Yeah, we used to talk in English.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. I used to stand in front of the mirror and go, McDonald's. Oh, yeah. I'm cool,
Yeah. And so I think that helped a lot. I think, people who learn English, like Latin Americans, and really want to learn English can be close to the accent because we've been singing and we've been learning lines from movies and, so it's easier.
So it was a dream from when you were a kid to go to America at some point?
Oh, huge. Yeah. It was a very, very big dream. Of course, we grew up with, remember CHIPS, California Highway Patrol?
Of course.
And all those
Eric Estrada.
Exactly.
I've met him.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know. I wish I wouldn't have.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
He was a little creepy.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was a little creepy. He was like, I always wanted to be a cop since I was 5 years old. And I said, oh, well, be careful what you wish for, right? And then he said, yeah, no, then I played a cop on TV. And I was like, yeah, I know. That's why I said, be careful what you wish for. And then he looked at me. I swear this is a true story. And he went, maybe you should be careful what you wish for because I always get what I want. And I was like, and then again, one of those awkward, shy moments. And I said, because I didn't know what to say, I went, yeah, well, I'm obviously a huge fan. Not a huge fan at all. It's so funny. Anyway, CHIPS, yeah.
Yeah. So we thought of California with like this beautiful, beaches all around and people just having fun. And of course it isn't.
No.
But anyways, yeah. But anyway, I saw an opportunity of growing something with something that I didn't have back in Colombia. And I remember I called my mom and I said, I'm going to stay. I want to stay in LA. Can you help me economically until and she said, no. She said, yeah, if you want to stay, you find a way. But for me, it's more expensive to have a bum in LA than in Bogota. So, no.
That's what she said. I got goosebumps.
Yeah, and
Wow.
so I
But she did that because she wanted you to learn to like make it yourself, or because she didn't approve of you being there.
No. I think that's one of the things a parent has to do in a certain moment. You know, that push the little bird.
So what did you do? What was your job in LA?
My first job was in a souvenir shop in Hollywood.
Like on Hollywood Boulevard?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Next to a burger joint that was called Hamburger Hamlet.
You didn't try to find work at a Colombian place or try to find a Colombian sort of connection immediately when you got there? Because
No.
I would think that would be the first thing you would do, right?
LA is really big,
right?
Right. It's and I didn't. And there's no public transport. A good public transportation.
Very true. Yeah.
I didn't have a car, and I didn't know where to go.
Right. So
And
you just went to the first place.
Exactly. And then as it happens, you start to communicate with other people, and then they got me a job in a restaurant, which was better. And from then on, I just started working in different places.
And when you were studying film, did you think that you would be a filmmaker, a director? Is that what, or you just wanted to be close to the medium and didn't know what it was yet?
Well, I started. I knew what I wanted to do when I was in school. Right?
Yeah.
In high school. I mean, that was, but of course, there's this little thing that, grown-ups do around you with your dreams. And it's like, okay,
Right.
it's cool. The acting is cool, but why don't you study something, so you can fall back? That's a saying?
Something to fall back on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of Pacinos, right? And who says you're going to be one?
Right.
And I believe that closes the dream, but that happened. So it was like, I'm not going to be that in my life. I mean, be realistic. So I started studying advertising.
Right.
In Colombia, and I did do 2 semesters until I went to LA. And so the logical road was to go back to advertising in a community college.
Right.
And take classes, and then I had to take a class in production, which was part of the pensum that I needed. And so I loved it. And I said, well, maybe I should veer towards production. And that's what I did. And I loved it. And in a point, I thought that I could do production. But life, shifts your road.
Yeah.
And so one day I was working in a coffee shop. And a woman working with me said, you know what, you're a very creative person. I'm dating this guy that works in an advertising agency, a Hispanic advertising. And I'm like, cool. And so he got me an interview with the creative director. And we got along, and he gave me an internship. But in writing, in copywriting.
Yeah.
And he said, maybe like in 6 months we can put you in production. And it never happened. They hired me 6 months later as a copywriter, and I worked there for 4 years. So that was like and it helped me write. That was the most amazing job, because it gave me structure and gave me synthesis and gave me a lot of things that I think are great for comedy.
Yeah, for sure. And did you like LA? Did you feel at home, or did you care?
Yeah. I really like LA. It gave me everything.
It did?
Yeah.
So you didn't feel? Did you feel like an outsider there?
At the beginning, as usual, I mean, you get to a new place, you feel like an outsider. But then I moved a lot, and in Colombia, or I don't know if here it happened before, but if you did bad in school, they would throw you out of the school.
Yeah.
And so I went through 7 schools in my life. So I already knew the sense of like, well, you get to one place, it's hard at the beginning, but you'll make friends.
Stick with it, yeah.
Exactly.
And your parents, are they in the arts? Were they creative people?
My father was an architect, and
so that's creative.
Yeah, exactly. My mom was not. She was a businesswoman. She was, yeah.
So they you said they said you need something to fall back on, and did they only start approving of what you're doing when you had success, or when they saw that you were passionate and that you were sacrificing so much and working so hard, did they then start to?
Well, my mom was as a mom, she knows. And she was always supportive, right? And my father was more like, I remember, he went to the theater and he laughed. He kind of but he thought it was something, we're going to move on from that. It was a hobby, yeah.
Right.
And that we had actually made it with that play, with that, sketch comedy, but it was going to fade away. And, but then I got hired to do a series in a character. And one day he said, "Okay, so no crying, right? No crying in television, because that is as a man." And then as a corny thing, right?
Don't make it cheesy.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
And then because that was a series, and then he said, "Okay, so you did the thing, but now you don't tell me you're going to do soap operas." That was the next thing I did. Because in Colombia, our soap operas are not like here. They're not as dramatic. They are, but they have funny characters.
Right.
And so there's a lot of soap operas that are more funny than dramatic.
Right.
And so I did a few of those. Like Betty, Ugly Betty was one of the biggest successes.
Of course, right.
And that was a comedy. That was an everyday comedy.
Yeah. And it's more, I feel like it goes back more to like the vaudeville cabaret performance style too, right? It's like very big and it's not supposed to be realistic in any way.
No, it's more farce.
Yeah, exactly. It's farce. It's funny and big. And, yeah. And so you went back because you got a good job, or because
I went back to Colombia?
Yeah,
because I was doing amazing in that
because
advertising.
6 years is a long time.
It's a long time, and this is one of the biggest advertising agencies in America, in Hispanic advertising agency, and I was making good money, and I was really happy, but this advertising agency from Colombia, which is BBDO, is one of the biggest in the world, and they offered me a great job in Colombia. And so I thought it was the logical thing to do. So I went back.
So you went back, and then you built a huge career there. And then you were like, okay, I've done everything I need to do here. Now I can go back to the States. Or how did you end up coming back, or now being in New York? Yeah,
it was. Well, I wanted to come and really be here, right? And the whole experience, because I've come before, but just for a month or for a show or for 2 shows. And Florida is we have a lot of Colombians in Florida. So, so I would go there and perform a lot. But I wanted to come and give myself in my lifetime the opportunity to do first English comedy, comedy in English, and then in New York, right? Be in a New York comedy club for once in my life. I wanted to do that, and so I applied for a green card, and that was an 01 green card, which is
right, the extraordinary ability.
Exactly. And I said, I don't know, maybe they'll give it to me.
Because you had a green card the first time you lived here, and then you lost it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't know if everybody listening knows, if you don't spend a certain amount of time in the U.S., they take your green card away from you.
Exactly. They say you're not going to live here, so give your green card to somebody else.
Yeah. Give your green card to another Colombian comedian with a big dream. Yeah, exactly. I think it's so funny that, that with all the immigrant stories, it's always the story of like fucking just figuring it out and doing whatever it takes. And not being, and sort of having this like fearlessness that I always try to figure out in the conversation, like, where does that come from? Are you just born with that, or is it learned, or is it taught to you? Like, what is it about immigrants especially that they have to have this like these like huge balls.
Exactly. I think it's probably in the DNA of certain human beings, but not a lot of human beings do it. But there's moments in history, and there's certain types of human beings that actually do that, because it's not easy.
Right.
It's never easy. You have to really put your head to figure it out, as you say, which is the most beautiful thing, right? And we, as humans, did it, in a certain time. We crossed from Russia to America.
Yeah.
We crossed that. We didn't have boats. We didn't have anything, and we figured it out. Figured a way.
Yeah.
So we have that.
Some Americans can even see Russia from their house now.
Exactly.
They figured out how to do that.
Yeah. So I think we have something, the immigrants.
Yeah.
That we don't go back. Going back is not
an option.
An option.
Yeah.
So you go through very hard days and loneliness, and like right now I'm with my wife here, so it's easier.
Yeah.
But back in LA, I was by myself for a long time. I mean, I spent like 3 years that I didn't go back to Colombia, and like 3 very sad Christmases, and didn't have anybody over there, but you figure out how to survive. Like I would spend Christmas in a theater. In a movie theater, just to forget about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also because theaters kind of become your home, I think, right? Because they are the same everywhere you go.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like, a lot of people say it's like church.
Yeah,
right?
it is. And I believe it is.
Right, me too. Yeah. My dad's a writer and an actor, a playwright. So I grew up going to the theater always as a kid.
Great.
So I always feel like, I don't know if you have German playwright, yeah. I don't know if you have this experience since you're Colombian and that's such a strong culture and identity, but I think a lot of immigrants kind of, when they leave a place, they are not that anymore and not this, right? It's like you go to Colombia and you're the American guy, and you're here and you're the Colombian guy, but And that's why for me always theaters are like the one place where I'm at home, wherever I am.
And you're part of that. Anywhere in the world.
And I know how to move. I know how, smell, the feel, the like, okay, I know what's happening here,
And you feel comfortable always,
right.
Always. The theater has something, I don't know, and like I don't have beliefs, religion, and the lady that discovered us. She was a very small Argentinian theater lady, a producer, very important. And she died like 10 years ago. And they, how do you call when people are around the casket and...
The mourners?
Mourners?
Funeral?
The funeral,
Yeah.
the funeral.
Before the funeral.
The funeral.
Mike is like, funeral?
Yeah. And so that wasn't in a church or anything, but it was in the theater. And I thought it was the nicest thing because that's our temple. That's our, right? That's the belief that we have. And so I want that.
So you weren't raised religiously then?
No, not at all. No,
that's lucky.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, my father was funny because he had this. He was raised very Catholic.
Yeah,
but he wasn't. But then certain things would appear sometimes in certain occasions. Like my daughter, neither my daughter or my son were baptized because I don't believe. I thought it was why if I don't go to church? This is
right.
But then my daughter, when she was like 11, she wanted to do the first communion with the girls in her class.
Right, because everybody was doing it.
Because everybody was doing it. And they get presents, and they get to dress. And they get, And my father was like, but she's not baptized. And I'm like, so?
Yeah.
Well, that's a sin. I'm gonna talk to the priest, and I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, this is absurd. You don't believe in that. And so I said, if it's that important to you, then you baptize her. And he took her.
Really?
And baptized her.
Wow. Yeah, some stuff runs deep, huh?
I know. Yeah. It was important for him.
Right.
I guess
That's interesting.
It is.
So. coming to New York now a year ago, you said.
Exactly a year ago, yeah.
Is that the first time you did comedy in English?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did you start writing it in Colombia or did you need to be here? Because I imagine it's daunting and must have been so scary your first gig in English.
Yeah, because it's actually I thought it was going to be easier because I've been doing comedy for 20 years,
right? And
I thought I could translate some things, and you can't.
Right.
You really can't translate.
Yeah.
And so when I got on stage, I bombed really bad. I got so scared and I got so nervous because my mind just blocked. Just there's a moment that what we're actually doing is I'm not thinking right what I'm saying. It just, but to get to this point, there's a moment that you have to be translating everything.
Right.
Your thoughts are in Spanish, and then they have to go through this process, and right.
Yeah.
And so on stage, I would just block myself. I mean, right, because I wouldn't be able to improvise and so I started like with 3 minutes, really, learn my, everything, the structure, everything, and to get confidence.
Right.
And I'm getting there, but it's been starting at zero.
But again, it's amazing because one could say, why do you need to do this? Like, you have a huge career. Yeah. You're like totally famous in Colombia. You've like done it all. You could just, rest. But I think, like you said, it must be something in your DNA that you want to keep, pushing and exploring. And maybe also it's almost a thrill there of this like painful experience. Like maybe there's also almost like the thrill is how scary it is. Yeah. And I think for a lot of people who do stand up, it is a mixture of that, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and we have a huge addiction for a laugh. I don't know what it is, but I never surfed, really. I lived in LA, and I had many surfer friends who tried to teach me. And, surfing is very tough because one day you're going to be there all day long and not catch a wave. But the moment they describe this, I haven't lived that. But the moment you actually go down a wave, the emotion is so big that you want to do it and you can't stop doing it in life. I think stand-up is that.
We're the surfers of the nerd world. We're the surfers with zero abs.
But I think it's that. I think we get so addicted to that laugh, to that explosiveness, to that,
But also, I think it's an addiction to the unknown.
Exactly.
Because, of course, when you have your material and certain stuff works always. It's great. And that's fun too, knowing I'm going there and I know what's going to happen to everybody. You're all going to fucking laugh, But I think hopefully. But I think there's also, because live performance is such a living, breathing animal, and it is different every night. Even if the same jokes hit, it's still different because the energy is different, and the people, what they bring, and the feeling and everything. And there's something about that for me at least, I think, is this thrill where I think, even if I would make $1 gazillion on TV or movies or whatever, I would always need the live performance.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to leave that.
Because the energy. Yeah. But I think there's something in there about this, that's the thrill of the unknown. Mm-hmm. That every night you don't know what you're stepping into, and that I think is the same sort of thrill maybe you feel also I'm going to a new country where I don't know anybody. And it's fucking scary as fuck, but at the same time it's that's the thrill of this unknown.
Yeah, I remember the first week that I would look out of the window and I had no idea where to go, right?
In LA or here?
No, here. And so I started to feel this fear itself, like somebody was grabbing me, and just squeezing me. I think it was panic attack. I was right. I made a decision to come here, and the city is huge. And do I leave the apartment and go right or left, or what did I do? Right? And life is amazing because life has your back. I mean, really, if you just, I'm really sure that one day if you leave your apartment with nothing, barefoot, life will take care of you. I mean, if you just go, things will happen.
Right.
And this is what happened to me. I mean, I've been a year and I already have friends, people. I mean, I'm doing a podcast with you. Isn't that
yes.
Right?
Yes. No, I agree. I mean, and so did you go right or left?
I think I went straight. I don't know.
No, I'm kidding. But yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that's true. I think that's something, though, that goes back to what you said about people saying you need something to fall back on. I think a lot of the times we're taught not to allow ourselves to get lost.
Exactly.
Yeah. My sister did, when she was 21, she wrote a book about traveling the world. And she got this magazine to buy the flights for her. And she did this crazy thing that she managed to pull off. And in the beginning of the book, she put a quote that I'm going to kind of butcher, but it's from some wise man. And it basically says, never ask anybody for the way because you might not get lost. And that's beautiful. So beautiful, but that's exactly. Yeah. But I think we're taught, no, you're not supposed to get lost. You have to have a plan. You have to know exactly what you're doing. You have to do A, B, and C, It's funny when you told that story. I'll never forget when I was 9, we were hanging out with a friend of my parents, was a painter. Robert Longo is his name. And I said to him, I want to be an actress. That's what I wanted back then. But I think I might study languages as well to have something to fall back on. And he said to me, don't ever think like that. You don't need anything to fall back on. Nothing. If you think like that, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah. And
I was like, wow.
And I sold my soul once to advertising, to the devil. And it really is and I felt so bad. I mean, I was making a lot of money. I was very comfortable. I was rising. I was rising. Yeah, I was. Advertising is really complicated because it's the most egotistically. I mean, there's probably more jobs like that, but it's always the awards, and you're gonna. And then you enter somebody's office, and there's 100 little statues of this awards and it's awards of little films. I mean,
rip the most people off award.
Exactly. But you start to play the game, and so every time you get a race, or every time you get an award, and you're just stuffing yourself with lies and with and drinking a lot and doing the whole advertising thing, the world. And
cocaine is what he means. He means cocaine. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and just staying late and playing the game. And there was a moment that I said, I can't do this anymore. I mean, I have to give my passion a try. Yeah. I need to try. We need to be immigrants. We need to leave the comfort. We need to leave, and because we think there is something. We don't have a doubt that there is something over there.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I think, though, that those experiences are sometimes so important to find out how much something really matters to you. Do you know what I mean? Like working a job that you hate, or that's a means to an end, or that you could keep going. But I think a lot of times those experiences are they're not wasted. A lot of people think like, oh, I wasted all this time being a lawyer and now finally I'm a comedian or something, or I wasted, but I always think that's so important because those are like these moments where you realize what you would give and what you're willing to do and what it actually means for you, or what like the actual point is for you when you say, I want to be an entertainer, or I want to be an actor or a comedian. Do you know what I mean?
Completely, yeah. And everything has a reason.
Right.
Like Steve Jobs connecting the dots, the whole. If I wouldn't have done those years of advertising, which were the first years were beautiful because I was learning something. I was learning to write, and I was learning really how to write. So that craft helped me later on to write comedy. And so I really appreciate the working ideas, constantly being able to have fun with ideas.
Right.
I was selling stuff, but but
also to let them go.
Yeah.
To put them out there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you miss most about Colombia when you're here?
Family and food.
Right. Yeah,
that's usually right.
Yeah, that makes sense. The food is better almost anywhere than here.
No, and you know what? It's funny, but the money. I don't know because I'm going to try to explain. You lived here all your life, so you're from here. But when you're from there, you're thinking all the time, I'm making money over there, but it's costing me in dollars, but I'm making pesos. And so when I get there, I work a lot in Colombia still.
Yeah.
So when I'm working there, I'm like, well, I don't have to think about that, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
I can understand that totally because I grew up like that. My dad was always making money in Germany.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he still doesn't really speak English. He never worked here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you speak German fluent.
Yes. No, we can't communicate at all with each other. I think he's my dad. He's always around. No, I look like him. But I grew up like that, always with the fear of how the dollar was rising against the mark, German mark, at first Deutschmark, and then the euro. It's up. Every fucking tension in the household. Yeah. Oh, it's down. Yeah, everybody's celebrating,
We can eat.
Yeah. So I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, and that's something that's not like, most families come here and their dream is to like work here and live here, and that wasn't the case with my family. Like I said, I always say my dad is the original woke man because he's been calling everybody they for 30 years because he doesn't speak English well. So he goes, they goes to the store, they orders this, they that. He doesn't use he or she at all. Yeah. Nice. He's a writer and stuff, so he's very like immersed in his language.
So you came here with your parents?
Yeah, when I was 8.
But he still worked in Germany.
Yeah, but so he had some plays that were very successful. So they had a little bit of money, more money than usually, and they wanted to get out. And so they thought they'd come here for a year. That's kind of a very common story. And then, ended up staying. But my dad was always going back and forth or always writing in German here. And never worked here. My dad still doesn't have a green card. My dad still comes here on like an extended tourist visa. He doesn't work here. My mom just got her green card. It's wild. Wow. I just became a citizen because my parents didn't really think we needed green cards.
That is an amazing story. That is
it's amazingly stupid. I mean, it's wild. It's wild. But yeah. So anyway, I always ask my guests for if they have a favorite saying from their country. I found some Colombian sayings that I think are pretty fucking amazing. Okay, like this one. Se nos creció el enano.
Yeah.
The dwarf has grown on us. Yeah. I love that.
That's if you have a business, if you have a project and it starts really small and then it becomes a huge thing. So you say, se nos creció el enano.
I love it. Very nice because I'm one. I also love más cansón que una tostada en un brasier.
Brasier?
Brasier. More annoying than a slice of toast in your bra?
Yeah. No?
I mean, that seems like somebody tried that and was like,
and it was annoyed.
You know what? You're more annoying than this fucking toast that I have in my bra right now. Más cerrado que culo de muñeca?
Yeah.
More closed than a doll's ass?
Yeah. The saying is with a Barbie's ass.
Oh, it's supposed to be Barbie?
But muñeca is the same. Yeah.
Okay,
It's
you don't like that one.
Do you think that story is going to be closed? Oh, yeah. It's going to be closer than
Barbie's ass. I love that. That's great. Okay, and then this one is great. Más ordinario que un helado de cebolla.
Yeah.
Less impressive than an onion-flavored ice cream?
Yeah. Ordinario is like cheap, like not well done. Like, it's like like a table just, with a badly done thing. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Are these used, any of them? Do you use any of them?
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah.
I love your face. You were like, no, I don't like those.
But we say, for example, this is an absurd one. A la hora del té, ¿quién paga el pato?
At the time of the tea,
Yeah.
who's going to pay the...
Pato.
What's pato?
Duck.
Oh, the duck. Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
at the time of the tea, who pays the duck? So it's at the time of the tea, right?
Yeah.
Who's going to pay the duck? So it's...
What's the duck doing there?
I know.
What does it mean?
Nobody knows.
Really?
And I love this meaningless saying in Colombia because people say them a lot. And so my first stand-up special...
Oh, yes. Who ordered chicken?
Hey, who ordered chicken?
Yes.
That's a saying that first it was like the father... Right, when he went out with his family, he would get, like my father would do this all the time. He would get the check, and as a joke, he would say, "Who ordered the chicken?"
How do you say it again in Spanish?
¿Quién pidió pollo?
Right.
Yeah, who ordered the chicken? Like it was an expense. Like, whoa, it's really expensive. Who ordered the chicken? But the chicken has never been an expensive thing, right?
Yes, that's
it's
great.
But nowadays it's become. The younger crowd is like when somebody really attractive comes in the room. And so they would say, "Ooh, who ordered the chicken?"
I thought you were going to say now the younger people say, "Who ordered the faux turkey?" Because they're all vegan. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who ordered the tofu? So now the pollo is someone hot.
Yeah.
It's like a bird. You say that here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think. Hot bird. Right, Mike? British people say
British
it,
people, yeah. Blackbird is... Yeah. I've heard the McCartney's explanation about Blackbird.
About Paul McCartney's?
Yeah, because
right.
the
yes,
girls were somewhere.
Yes. I love it. Who ordered the chicken? You've heard of the Proust questionnaire?
No.
Great. Perfect. You don't need to have heard of it because this is the poll questionnaire.
Okay.
All right. Antonio Sanint, if you would cast a movie about the Statue of Liberty, who would you cast as the Statue of Liberty?
Glenn Close.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's a good choice.
Yeah.
That's like an Oscar-worthy choice.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I love it.
I love her. Yeah.
Awesome. Love it. Glenn Close. One of my favorite answers. If you could add one face to Mount Rushmore, who would you add?
Oh, yeah. Woody Allen.
Oh, shit.
Just to make it interesting.
Okay. I like it. All right. What do you think is the most American thing you've ever done?
Eat a donut with bacon.
Yes. That's very American.
That is the most American thing I've ever. And it's delicious.
That's
and
awesome.
It's amazing. Yeah.
What do you think is the most Colombian thing you've ever done?
Oh, yeah.
ordered the chicken?
Oh, yeah. Maybe. No, just maybe go to a very far place in New Jersey to find Colombian food.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah. Was it good? Was it worth it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good.
If you were president of the United States of America, what American food would you ban?
The fried chicken on waffle.
Holy shit. Wow, that's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a strong thing to run on for president, though.
Yeah, I
You'll
know.
divide the country, but apparently that's what works.
Yeah, I think a lot of people
chicken and waffles is what it's
are
called.
dying.
Because of it?
Right? No, it's sugar. Everything wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree. As an immigrant, I have to say there's certain foods that are crazy to you as an immigrant, and chicken and waffles is one of those. That's always been insane to me.
That
sugar, Americans think
fried,
is normal.
Yeah.
They were like, no, that's normal.
Yeah.
And I think that's insane. That's like spray cheese, the cheese in a can, also insane. If you could add one amendment to the Constitution, what would you add? You're like, fuck you. These are hard questions.
Yeah, very hard.
How about everybody gets to make up their own social security number?
That's good. No, I would. It's so hard because I really believe women should decide whatever they want to do with their bodies. And
Absolutely.
I really believe that.
Yes, we believe that here. I just went to Australia and I learned that kangaroos can have an embryo, and if they get threatened by a predator, they can throw the embryo out at the predator, and then they can have a backup, like a spare tire embryo.
Wow.
That they can, it's incredible that they then develop instead of the first one. So my new thing is we need this technology nowadays. Throw the first one at the Republican, knock him out, get the abortion on the second embryo.
That's great.
But yes, I agree with you, and applause for that. Applause. If you could deport one American person, who would you deport?
Oh man, that's so tough.
Because there's a lot, or because you don't want to deport anybody?
Yeah, because I really I don't want to be deported ever. So I wouldn't like somebody to ever think that somebody is deportable.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, I like that. So deport no one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A popular answer here has been Michael Rappaport.
Okay. Yeah, there's probably a lot of people, but as an immigrant, I don't feel I could, there's a lot of things that I feel disrespectful if I ever think about that, you know what I mean? Until maybe,
Great. I love that. Hello, lead by example, people. I love that. No, you're right. I mean, I think getting deported is that I just became a U.S. citizen, but that I was constantly living in fear of that. Although I was doing nothing wrong, but I was always afraid of getting deported.
And you're German. Imagine a Colombian.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, you're right. Absolutely. Yeah.
I still go on immigration, and I show my green card with a little more confidence than my Colombian passport, but I still, I'm always afraid of going to the little room. Because
I've been to the little room.
Yeah, there's the most horrible place on earth.
Yes, it is actually. People are crying in there. I grew up with my parents. I mean, my dad's a little bit of a hysteric person too. But before we'd go through immigration as a kid, it would be like, don't say this, don't say that. If anything, compliment the guy. I remember one time we went through.
What is the version?
Yes,
this is the version. This is the.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember once we were standing there and my sister said, oh, you look like a young Marlon Brando. And the guy was like, haha. And we left and my dad was like, that was great. Good job, And it was like a nightmare. Every time we were sweating. And like you said, we were German and we were legal. I don't know what the fuck they were so insane about, but always.
We have that. We have, as an immigrant, we have that
this fear. Yeah. My parents would not say, don't get arrested, because they didn't want me to do anything wrong. They didn't really care about that. They just didn't want us to get deported. You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love that. Don't deport anybody. Okay, last question. I ask everybody this. David Hasselhoff is behind me because I am German, and so to prove that I'm German, he has to be here. But do you have any idea how I can meet David Hasselhoff?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I love that.
But I know you will.
I love it. Yes. Best answer ever. I love it. So, Antonio, you're on tour throughout the U.S. I'm guessing you're going all over.
Yeah. The next, I'm going to quickly say
Yes.
where.
Yes, please.
Because this week will be around here.
Around the East Coast.
Yeah. Will be Hartford.
Okay.
At the Funny Bone would be at Philadelphia, the Punchline, Morris Plains, New Jersey, Long Island, at the Governor's in Levittown. No.
Oh, well, you people levitate there.
Really?
No, I don't know.
And then we're going to Cincinnati, Houston, San Antonio, Austin, Plano, Dallas, Denver.
Wow.
Then L.A., San Francisco, Sacramento, and San Diego. This is 6 Colombian American comedians. We do comedy in English. We do a lot of different comedy. Sometimes, because we're Colombians, we're gonna make jokes about Colombia.
Right.
But it's more of the immigrant thing.
Yeah.
But it's in English. Sometimes there's more than 90% of speaking Spanish. I'll do like 5 minutes.
Okay, I
In
love
Spanish,
it.
but-
That's great.
Yeah,
That's
and it's
so
in
great.
ColombianComedy.com. You can get tickets and information.
ColombianComedy.com. And where can people find you on social media? Let us know.
My name, Antonio. Last name, Sanint. Antonio Sanint, at Antonio Sanint. Instagram.
I was going to say Facebook. Oh my God. I
Yeah,
just
but
made
it's-
myself 90 years old.
It's coming
Instagram,
back.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's making a comeback?
Yeah.
Okay. Find Antonio on Instagram, on Facebook, on MySpace. Also making a comeback. Everywhere you can find anybody. Watch his comedy. Like his stuff. Subscribe. DM him.
TikTok.
TikTok.
I have a new. I wasn't in TikTok. Now I'm in TikTok. Antonio Comedy 69.
Oh, okay. 69,
Yeah.
always a riot.
Favorite number.
Antonio, muchas gracias.
A ti. Muchas gracias a ti.
This was so fun and so great. Thank you to everybody listening. Thank you to our patrons. Most importantly, Douchebag Steve, a.k.a. Robbie. We love you. Please like, subscribe, rate, review. Thank you to Mike, the best in the West and the East and the North and the South, Mike Albanese. Thank you for everybody listening. Check out everything. Goodbye.
If you liked what you just heard, don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, recommend to all your friends, and if you hated it, recommend it to your enemies. Thank you for listening to Immigrant Jam, the podcast with me, Lucy Pohl. Have a delicious and nutritious day.